Now
that we've had fun with that, I'll give you one from Boston. Yeah, then you're going to laugh at that one too. On a concrete ledge, atop glass cliffs, the peregrine falcon perches. Across the common runs the rabbit. The great gray owl glides from street lamp to street lamp. If you don't believe me, go out there around 3 a.m. and look. You'll find that there's a lot more wildlife here than, not just making a pun on balloons and stuff, there's a lot more wildlife here than anyone ever notices. In fact, when I come into Boston, I often stay with Jack and I often look out the window and say, we're only about a half a mile from the nearest neighbor. And we've got a lot more coyotes, and a lot more foxes, a lot more rabbit, porcupine, even an occasional fisher cat and lynx around than we have people. Now, I won't say that's the way I like it, because sometimes I like to be among people too. But when I come to a city, I start feeling homesick, because I don't hear the foxes out on the hillside arguing with the coyotes over who's going to have the privilege of hunting the rabbits there that night. And believe me or not, they do. They get out there and they will set up a howl, and one way or another they will decide which one is going to hunt the hillside. It's not a matter of permanent dominance. They alternate. I don't know whether they alternate based on whose kids need the sustenance, or on who happens to be howling loudest that night, or just what the basis is. But you go out there and you sit there on the hillside and you watch them night after night for a period of years, you see what's going down. It's a social order among different species.
Where is this exactly?
I live in
Chelsea.
I live in a village called Brigham, Quebec, but you won't find it on a map because it's too small to be on a map. What is it near?
What is it least farthest from?
Well, if you get out your map from here, if you get out your map and you look at Montreal and you look at Sherbrooke,
oh, Sherbrooke.
I know where you. I
and
know
you
where
look
you.
just about halfway in between.
Do you live near Trois-Rivières, Mattawa?
No, I live a long way south of that. Those are on the North Shore.
Oh.
North Shore.
Sherbrooke.
This Sherbrooke would be about 60, 70 miles that way. Montreal about 60, 70 miles that way. Burlington about 150 miles to the south.
Nice guy. I just want to get a rough idea.
Nice
All right.
Best country in the world.
Must be starting to snow up there now.
That's right, it is. It is.
Yeah,
That's why he's here.
That's not why I'm here.
That's why he's here.
No, I read your
Why we're up there.
Put one together.
That's right.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Thank you. Well, this is gradually getting out of control. I don't mind a bit. This is great. All right. Well, I also have cats up there, and they participate in this sort of balance. Now, what role do the cats play? They're basically the juvenile delinquents of the neighborhood. The coyotes and the foxes have this fairly established canine order. The coyotes presently have the upper hand because they're more versatile. They can go after larger game. They can pull down deer, for instance. The foxes can't. Fox depends exclusively on rabbit and ground sheep. Well, I don't worry too much about the wiping out any chickens in our neighborhood because there aren't any chickens in our neighborhood. But anyways, the cats go out there and they create chaos. They hunt mice, which the coyotes and the foxes will go for if they can't get any rabbits. They also set up caterwauling for their own particular purposes, and it disturbs the transmission of messages among coyotes. But they've got their redeeming virtues. And they also don't have any common sense. They go out and hunt in the hayfields during haymaking. So let me give you Budgie the Tomcat. Flattened to earth among the oat stalks, be hid from machines, but obeying blind direction, they took their toll. One leg. More machines rushed into the vet. They took an ounce of flesh more. Now a miracle. Thanks to science, this crippled cat leads a normal life. God take it, God give it. Pledge prayers with gratitude. Somebody asked where I was from, and if I was up in Quebec, this is the way I would explain it. I'm from the Imaska River Basin. The Imaska River flows north to the St. Lawrence. Come on up to Quebec. The Richelieu River flows absolutely due north by the compass. It's the largest river in Quebec by width. The Imaska River flows north, that's right, flows north. The St. Lawrence River itself flows to the northeast. The St. Francis River flows due north.
How about the Three Rivers?
The Three Rivers flow south. They hit the St. Lawrence in the opposite direction. No, they don't go to the Arctic Sea. They eventually wind up in the Atlantic. Now this is important, by the way. There are a lot of Americans who believe that no rivers flow north, and also believe that we ski up there in July. And let me tell you, when I'm out there in July in the hayfields, it's 90-some degrees, and I see a guy going by with a ski rack on his car. I say to myself, man, there's another one of them flatlanders from Massachusetts. All right. You don't believe me? Come on up, visit in July, and I'll put you to work throwing bales. All right, you're on. Now let me tell you about the Imaska River death toll. The Imaska Basin in Quebec's eastern townships holds 150,000 people and 1 million pigs, all of whom shit in the river. The river holds as much shit as oxygen, H2O shit. 56% of the shit is of demonstrable human origin. We should all live like pigs.
That's where you get your water.
I'm glad you asked that. It's not where I get my water.
I said, I'll drink Canadian whiskey.
But it's where so that was a good one too. Let me explain why. You're old enough to have been alive during Prohibition. Alright. During Prohibition, the farm where I live had a colossal moonshine still in the barn, and the mash boiling down in that still gradually rotted out all the timbers, so a year or two ago we had a sawdust truck fall through the floor and had to rebuild it again.
Those are the days.
Alright? Now, what this still was in the business of doing, they would bring in good quality Canadian club liquor and various other brands from Montreal, and they would dump it all out into more bottles, so they'd have about this much good liquor, then they'd fill the rest with this bad quality corn mash whiskey, and they had the airstrip down where we have a hayfield now, and they'd fly it on down here. Now somebody mentioned the Kennedys. Actually, this was a Capone operation. The Kennedys, they had the territory divided. The Kennedys had Brome County, and the Capones had Mississauga County, and we're pretty much right on the border of the two counties. So if we'd gone about a mile the other direction, we wouldn't be the Kennedy bracket. But that was how this part of the country supported itself in those days. It was exporting this bad mash whiskey made out of this river full of pig shit down here. And if you didn't drink it yourself, probably your father or your grandfather drank it. I don't mind it. Because I didn't originally come from where I live now. Now, the other point that was mentioned here, do people drink that water? Yes, they do drink that water. They don't drink as much of it now as they used to because a number of us raised holy hell, and we finally started getting to build some filtration plants, and that's what I put a good deal of my life into, and that's something Ruth over there has put a good deal of her life into as well. That's where she's from too. Let me tell you a little more about pigs. You want to know any more about pigs? You probably don't.